Genesis chapter 30. We've got a very funny story here. This would be actually more fun to take some time on sometime. Jacob, this is a weird story. Let me just read it, and then I'm going to explain to you what we read if you didn't get it, all right? So it's Genesis 30. We'll start with verse 37. Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar and of the almond and chestnut trees. He peeled white strips in them. He exposed the white which was in the rods. And the rods which he had peeled, he set before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink, so they should conceive when they come to drink. Down to verse 41. It came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, so that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put those rods there. The feebler were Laban's, the strongest were Jacob's. This is just a bizarre story. Let me explain to you what happened, because I don't have time to take you through the whole chapter. Jacob's been working for his father-in-law for forever. And his father-in-law keeps changing the contract. He's been stealing from his own son-in-law. He's just a deceptive rascal. And the Lord wants to release Jacob from this kind of bondage that he's living under Laban's household. He's prospered his household dramatically. The guy has succeeded because of the favor of God on Jacob. And so Jacob's wanting to leave with his family and start his own family and allow the Lord to prosper them. So he goes to his father-in-law after he's been betrayed by his father-in-law multiple times, and he goes and he says, "Listen, I've got an idea." He says, "How about I take, after a certain period of time, I just take just the livestock that doesn't look normal. It's spotted and speckled, sheep that are spotted and speckled. I'm just going to take those with me. That'll be my salary from you." And the father-in-law thinks, that's awesome, because there's hardly any of those. And then Jacob gets this idea. He's going to take sticks of wood, and he carves in the side of the branches so that they're spotted, they're spiked, they're striped. And then whenever the sheep come down to water, he takes these spotted and speckled stakes, he drives them into the ground, so as the sheep, goats, whatever, as they come to water, they see spotted, speckled. When they mate, because that's where they would mate, they would reproduce spotted and speckled animals. Told you it was a weird story. You reproduce what you behold. Whatever we set our eyes on. You know this, I remember as a kid, I was just thinking of this the other day. My assistant, Michael's a doctor from Australia who helps me, and we were just talking about some of these kinds of things, and I remembered this as a kid. I fell on my bicycle. You remember the handlebars of the plastic things on the end? Well, mine had worn off, and so it was there, but it was pushed up, and it was just the metal. And I fell, and that handlebar just gouged me right here. I remember it so clearly, right here. And so we put whatever kind of stuff you put on cuts and did all that. I remember as just a kid, probably 7 years old, 8 years old. If I looked at it, it would hurt. If I looked away, there was no pain. That's weird. I mean, a day later, I've just gone around, everything's fine, playing baseball, do whatever I'm doing. And then I remember I got cut. I'd look at it, and I would actually feel pain when I saw it. I'm sure somebody can explain how and why that happens. I don't really care at the moment. All I know at the moment is that whatever I stare at grows. And when I look at waves, when I look at contrary opinion, when I entertain these things, I set myself up to actually be very, very weak in faith. And what the Lord is looking for is a group of people. It's not through striving. It's actually through this yielded relationship, this relationship that is impressionable to the voice of the Lord as he speaks that simple word of promise. As vast as Abraham's promise was, I don't know that it came in a thundering voice. All we know is he looked up at the sky and he realized God's promise is bigger than the sky. And he beheld that, and he considered that, and it shaped his life so much so that he became known as the father of faith. And his breakthrough in beholding is to be our breakthrough in beholding.